Hey, what's up everybody, Stammer35 here, bringing you guys a new video. In today's video, I got another platinum trophy for you guys, and now I'm going to be getting the platinum trophy in Stellar Blade right here. The only trophy I got left to get is just one more, and that is this hidden trophy here called Revenging Agent, for defeating 50 enemies in Tachy mode. So that's the only trophy I got left to get for the platinum trophy in this. So without further hesitation, I'm gonna get in here and obtain this platinum real quick. Alright, so here we are at the part we're about to get the platinum trophy here. Just gotta see what we're gonna do with this. I need to kill 10 more enemies with it. There's quite a few up here. I want to try to get it in one go, just one burst, so I can just not have to worry about getting it recharged. So I'm gonna see if I can drag like one more enemy over here just in case. I feel following me up here. Come on, ugly. Bring one up here just to be sure. There's a lot of enemies up here. This should be good. Whoa! Alright, everybody. Nobody lag behind. Come on, you Kratos wannabe. Ooh. Wow. This should be it, hopefully. Run out before I can do it. Oh, I have to rebuild it. One moment, please. Gotta edit it real quick. Alright, I'm back. I got my Tachy bar recharged again, and now this should be like the last wave of them I need. Hopefully, I got as many as I could earlier. You tried. Wow, this man is insane. Really, it despawned the freaking... Come on, everybody's taking 5 years to freaking do what I want them to do. Wow, it's leashing them. Aw, come on. The leash is crazy. Let's do it here, then hopefully I can... I shouldn't need too many more. I wasn't keeping track of how many I killed with the first thing. Yep, there it is, Revenging Agent. And here comes the platinum. Eve Protocol. There we go. Sweet. Whoa, where did you come from? Cool, that's it. That's the Eve Protocol platinum. Also, if you wanted to know where I was at if you ever needed to, like, you know, farm that or whatever for whatever reason, this is the location I was at when I did that. Just like start right there, and then all the enemies are over here if you ever needed to like farm that specific trophy or something for whatever reason. Other than that, we out. Platinum trophy is mine. There it is, that sweet 100%. Alright, and there it is, the platinum. It's platinum, the 99th platinum, Eve Protocol, acquired all trophies. There's the platinum image. Yeah, finally got the platinum in old Stellar Blade here. Overall, this game was pretty good. You know, I wound up liking this game, playing through and stuff. It was a pretty fun game for the most part. The combat in this game was fun too. Like once you get to hang at how it works and all that stuff, the combat is fun. Being able to, you know, doing the perfect blocks or parries or whatever it is they call it. And once you get that down for some of like the enemies and stuff, it's pretty fun. But yeah, the combat is good. The overall gameplay is good in this game too. It's fun. One of the things I really like in this game is the music in this game is freaking phenomenal. Like seriously, the music in this game is amazing. This game should have won like best soundtrack easily. Like if no other awards, this game deserved to win an award for like the best soundtrack, because the music in this game is freaking amazing. Like some of my favorite tracks in this game were it was a Song of the Sirens and Everglow, and then that one music theme that plays when you're running around in the wasteland or whatever. I can't remember the name of that one, but yeah, this game has a phenomenal soundtrack. I love the music in this game. Just about every song in this game is really great. The story in this game is pretty good too. A lot of the game does, you know, what a lot of these types of games do, or like, you know, Souls kind of. I wouldn't really consider this a Souls game or a Souls-like game. It's just like, you know, the combat and presentation is somewhat like that, if you know what I mean. You know, like a lot of these hack and slash games that come out nowadays, they play, you know, from a similar gameplay style as a Souls game. But I wouldn't really consider Stellar Blade a Souls game or anything like that. This game isn't really all that difficult either. I'll get into that later, but yeah, the gameplay is mainly like that. So a lot of the, you know, there's still like, you know, story sequences and stuff like that, but a lot of like the lore and backstory is found through the collectibles and stuff, which that can I'm kind of hit or miss on that sometimes. Like I don't mind, you know, with the collectibles, there's a lot of lore and backstory and stuff. You got to read through a lot of that, and like I said, I'm kind of hit or miss on that. I don't mind, you know. I like reading when parts in games and stuff, you know. I don't mind picking up collectibles and reading through some of it, but at the same time, it can be kind of annoying sometimes, because like I said, I don't mind reading, you know, when I'm playing a game and stuff, and reading through like the lore and collectibles and stuff. But sometimes when I'm playing the game, I just don't feel like reading at the time, so I'll pick up something that's got like a lot of lore or backstory, or just something. And if it's like a really long read, which, you know, a couple of, not a lot of them, but a few of the collectibles in this game are kind of like wordy, and I don't really feel like reading it at the time, so I just like stash it away, and it usually just like never go back to read it. So yeah, I'm kind of hit or miss on collectibles, you know, on like parts of the story being told through collectibles in that way. I don't mind reading, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of times where I don't feel like reading it, so I just never get around to it. Some of my like little minor gripes and complaints with it. One of my minor gripes with it is like the controls in this game can feel a little bit floaty sometimes, especially when you're doing platforming. Like there's a few like platforming sections in this game, and Eve's movement and controls and stuff, she feels a little like loose and floaty, so it makes the platforming a little tricky sometimes. Like you go to jump somewhere and she's so floaty, you almost like go flying off the sides, and sometimes it's hard to. Sometimes you'll save yourself and be able to not fall off, and other times she just goes right off the side of the edge. So, so the floatiness of like the platforming and can be a little troublesome sometimes. That was a little bit annoying in some parts, but it's not terrible or whatever. It's just, and then sometimes when you're running around or something, when you push like the control stick forward, the Eve will just automatically like climb up over something. So it get kind of scary when I would be running around somewhere and there's like a railing and I'm like trying to walk and accidentally brush Eve up against the railing just a little too much, and she like climbs to the top of it. I start like start freaking out, trying so she doesn't just like go over the edge or whatever. That didn't happen a whole lot really, but sometimes it just kind of sneak up on you, so be wary of that with the controls and stuff. But like I said, controls in the game isn't terrible, whatever, just that little thing. Another complaint I have with like the level design in this game is a complaint I have is this game really does that whole yellow paint thing. A lot of people have been talking about in games and stuff, how it just like shows you this yellow splotches of paint everywhere to show you where to go. This game unfortunately does that, and I really hate when games do that. It's really annoying. You'll be running around and then it's like either yellow ledges or yellow like lines or whatever tell you where to go. I've never been a fan of this type of level design. I wish games would stop doing it. It just to me it just comes across as like lazy level design. Like you really gotta find a better, more natural way to like guide the player, where to go and stuff like that, without having to resort to just laying bright yellow paint everywhere. So that's one of my other gripes with this game, that it does that a lot of other games do, is the whole yellow paint thing. I'm not a fan of that personally. And I said earlier about this game's difficulty. This game really isn't all that hard. Because the first couple bosses I was just like playing the game normally. You can honestly like one shot at least the first couple bosses. Like this game doesn't really have like a high difficulty level or anything like that. It's pretty like average. I mean, I just played on normal. I didn't play on like the hardest difficulty or anything. Maybe that changes it or something. But this game really isn't. I really wouldn't consider this game to be challenging or difficult or anything like that for the most part. There is like parts towards the latter half, like the tail end of the game. There's like this huge difficulty spike with the bosses. Like it's somewhat kind of just you go from one boss to. I'm not gonna spoil too much of what it is or anything, but you later parts of the game you fight boss after boss, and like those later bosses towards the tail end of the game is like a pretty huge difficulty spike. I struggle with those late game bosses more than I struggle with any other bosses in the game, because like all the other bosses I beat, if not on the first try, then like the second, third, or maybe even the fourth or fifth try. So like I said, this game, I wouldn't really consider worrying about the difficulty of this game for the most part. It's not that hard, at least in terms of the bosses and stuff, or really the game overall is not that difficult, except for, like I said, save for like the tail end of the game where there's like this pretty huge difficulty spike with the bosses, and I was actually struggling with those bosses towards the end there. It was kind of crazy. Now the main thing of difficulty with this game, in my opinion, is the freaking enemy mobs. Honestly, like fighting enemies in this game, like the way the enemies are, and then like the setups and stuff. Honestly, I find fighting like the enemy mobs in this game harder than fighting most of the actual bosses in this game. Like it's crazy too. You think it'd be the other way around, but like I said, it's the way the enemies are and how they, how some enemy setups and things like that. Like you really have to be careful fighting enemies in this game. I've died more to just basic enemy mobs than I have the bosses. The enemies in this game, fighting more than like one, maybe two, but fighting more than two enemies maximum is very, very dangerous in this game. Like you can get overwhelmed by the enemies in this game if you try to take out more than two at a time, and you can get cleaned up pretty quick if you don't watch how you fight the enemies. It got to the point where I'm like, bro, I hate fighting the basic enemy mobs in this game. I got to the point where I just like, especially later on as the game went, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just run. I mean, I would still fight, so of course, but most of the time, especially if I like died and I had to go back to another place or something like that, I'm like, I just ran past everything. Like a lot of encounters, especially like I said, especially later on in the game, I was just running past most of the enemies, especially if it was like multiples of them. I'm not fighting all this at one time. These enemies are stupid. I don't know what it is, man, but like I even noticed that when I first like began playing this game, when I was getting into it, I'm like, dude, I die more and find and struggle harder against like basic enemy mobs when there are multiple of them than fighting any of the bosses in this game. Like the enemy mobs in this game are freaking crazy if they gang up on you. It really does. Even with like get more health and stuff as you upgrade your Eve. Like the freaking enemies in this game can just tear you to shreds if you're not careful. You don't feel like you're always just straight up overpowered against these enemies. Like they're all, especially later on in the game, there are definitely enemies in here that will humble you real quick. And this game is a pretty decently lengthy game. Like by the time I got all the platinum, by the time I beat the game the first time, because my first playthrough I decided to go for 100% because there's different endings in this game depending on how you do stuff. So my first ever playthrough I went for the 100%. That took me like 57 or so hours, and then by the time I got the platinum, I think it was like 60 something, like 68 hours. So it's a pretty lengthy game there. So definitely a lot to do in this game. This game has quite a few things to do in it, and honestly it kind of felt like it was starting to drag just a little bit towards the tail end of the game. Like I said before, I appreciate games that are a little more shorter these days. I feel like the games, because it feels like the games don't overstay its welcome. I hate when playing a game and it feels like it's starting to overstay its welcome after a while. This game, it didn't do that for the most part, but like I said, towards like the tail end of the game, it started to feel like this game was starting to drag just a little bit. So it was getting just a little bit kind of like, man, what? Freak, dude. But it's not, it's not terrible or anything. It's not bad, or it's not like it's slow paced or whatever. It's just, it's a lot of build up and stuff like that towards the end. So it just kind of felt like it was starting to drag just a tiny little bit towards the end, for me at least. And then one of the later areas that I freaking honestly it's just the first time I get to that area is like what, the Great Desert. I'm not gonna say too much about the area. I'm not gonna spoil like a lot or anything, in case you guys wanted to play this game, which I would recommend playing this game. But yeah, like that Great Desert area, I don't know about any of you guys that have played this, but man, the Great Desert was freaking annoying. Like the enemy types they had there, the freaking environment with some of the places you got to be careful where you run at and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. I'm like, dude, they could have just cut this Great Desert part out. You got two open like desert type areas in this game, and the first one was better than the Great Desert. They could have just cut the freaking Great Desert out. That place was annoying me, man. I hated the Great Desert. I'm like, they could have did without this. Also with this game, I came to the realization that you actually can't back up multiple different save files for PS5 games. At least you can't back up multiple different save files because, like I said, this game has different endings and stuff. It has like 3 different endings you got to do different things for. So I did like the little thing where you can back up a save and get one ending and then immediately get whatever other one. So you just cut your number of playthroughs down to like 2 minimum for the main game and then New Game Plus. And I noticed with this, when I was looking up information about doing, I thought you could have one save file from a ways back and then another one, but whenever you go to upload the PS5 save to the cloud, you can't have multiple different ones. You have to override it, and you also can't put the PS5 save games on the USB stick like I thought you could. I was about to do that, but then I found out you couldn't do it. So that was kind of annoying. It's kind of weird how they do the PS5 game saves. It's not that big of a deal. It's not necessarily complicated to method of backing up your save, so you can just quickly get the first 2 endings. It's not complicated to do or whatever. I just thought the way they have it set up with how PS5 save games work, I thought it was kind of weird, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Just back the save up before certain points of the game to do stuff, and then get the one ending and then re-download and get the other one, because you can only have one save file on this game. Once it's whatever save file is on there is on there. You can't have multiple save slots or save files on this game, so that's kind of, it was a little bit annoying, but like I said, not like a huge deal or anything like that. And then is the, you can see here, also got the 100% for the New Game Plus, where you just run through the game again really quick on New Game Plus, and then get the New Game Plus skills and all that stuff. That was alright. You know, like I said, I already did my first playthrough 100%, so I just pretty much just speed ran the game again in New Game Plus. It didn't take that long, really. Although sometimes I get a little like tired of New Game Plus stuff, because you just run. I mean, you do get like, you know, new things and all that stuff, and you go through. So that was cool. You know, sometimes it's kind of like, you know what, a game this big, I played through it once. I kind of don't necessarily want to just replay through it again immediately afterwards. Like I said, with bigger games like this, you kind of just play through it once, and maybe, you know, I play through it again after that. I usually find shorter games have better replayability for stuff like that. But like I said, you just run through it. The game doesn't even have that very many main missions, so New Game Plus, you can just speed run it. Although you can't skip the cutscenes much though, so that's kind of, you know, makes it take a little bit longer since you can't skip them. But like I said, it's really not that big of a deal. Once you, if you do this game, like I said, I recommend your first playthrough, just do it 100% and just get that done, because that'll take the longest. And then just your second playthrough, you can just run through it and ignore all the side stuff and just beat the main story. Overall, I enjoyed Stellar Blade. I really like this game. I bought it, I pre-ordered it when it came out, because I thought it looked really cool and stuff. I really wanted to support the developer and all that, so I pre-ordered it. Had it pre-ordered for a few months, then it came out, played it day one. I enjoyed this game. Like I said, it has some, you know, little pet peeves. Like I said, the enemy mobs in this game can be really annoying sometimes. Started to feel like the game was starting to drag on, get a little too long in the tooth a little bit towards the end. So towards the end, the game felt a little frustrating to me, but not that big a deal. And then, you know, the story is okay. You know, I mean, like I said, it's not a bad story or forgettable or anything. I like the story. It's just, you know, it's not like the absolute strongest part of the game. The gameplay is really fun. The combat is good once you get it down, get the hang of it and stuff. I like the combat and all that. Overall, it's a good game. If you want to have this game, you know, I definitely recommend going out and picking up Stellar Blade. It's a pretty fun game, and I enjoyed my time with it quite a bit. And I like the characters too. I like Eve. Eve's a cool character. I like Lily and Adam and the side characters are cool too. This is a cool game. I also like all the little you know, outfits and stuff you can unlock for Eve. She has a lot of different costumes and stuff, and I like pretty much the majority of them. They're all the side, you know, the little side things is cool in this game, and the main characters and the side characters, I like them as well too. I like the world and environment in this game. But yeah, overall, it's a good game. Shift Up, this is their first like big game like this, because they usually do mobile games really, but this is their first like big game like this. They did a good job with this game for their first big one. I enjoyed this a lot. It did pretty good for their first big game. I enjoyed this game. That's enough rambling for now. I think I've said everything I wanted to say about this game. Pretty sure I always try to like make sure I note the things I want to say, so I think I've got everything I wanted to say about this game for the most part. If not, I'll add something in later if it comes to me. But yeah, that's Stellar Blade Platinum and 100% in the bag. That's my 99th Platinum to date so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like on the video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That's Stemmer35, and I'm out. Peace, and I'll see you guys for my 100th Platinum trophy.